Hi, grade 3, it's Les here, your maths teacher, bringing your next maths lesson to you, and so happy to be doing so. I hope you're all well and happy and that you're learning a lot from all these lessons. So, shall we get a move on? Yes, let's just do that. And of course, what is this lesson all about? Well, it's brought to you by a company called WorksheetCloud. Very proudly, I might say. And on that page, you can see the grade 3 at WorksheetCloud.com email address that you can get hold of me on should you want to ask me any questions about this lesson. And of course, so today, what is our topic? Well, it is perimeter and area. And I think maybe some of you might be thinking, oh, what are you doing? We've never heard of this. What's perimeter, parameter, perimeter, and what's area? That sounds completely and utterly confusing. But it isn't, grade 3s. It's actually a lot of fun. And you actually come across perimeter and area in front of you visually. You see it every day. You walk around the perimeters of things and you cross rooms that have an area measurement. And so we are going to see how clever you are, because you're going to get this easily. All right, so this is a geometric lesson. It's a geometry lesson because it's about shape, and that's why we call it geometry. So there we go. We're going to start with perimeter, and we don't call it perimeter. Okay, we call it perimeter. All right, and you can see the meter word there, and you would have seen that in other measurements. So what is perimeter? Well, let's have a look. If I have a look at the swimming pool, let's assume that little Andy Ant is right here. Can you see little Andy Ant? I'm going to circle the little ant there. He is going to take a little trot around the swimming pool, right? Round the edge. In other words, he's going to go round and round and round and round. And we're going to think, well, how far is this little ant actually going to be walking or running or skipping or whatever he's doing? So if an ant had to walk around the outside edges of a swimming pool, maybe the ant is looking for a little bit of ice cream that you dropped while you were lying around the pool, or you were eating a sweet and you dropped a little bit. You know how ants love sugar. Well, he could walk around the perimeter. He's walking around the edge, grade 3. So he goes diddle up and tweedle, 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 tweedle along that way, and then he goes along here, and then he goes along there, and he finishes off where he started, and that tells us that he has walked around the perimeter of that swimming pool. Okay, so let's have a look at what the actual definition is then of perimeter. What is the explanation? How would we describe what perimeter actually is? So we're going to move this box to C. Perimeter is the sum, and sum means adding, of the lengths of all sides of a polygon. And remember, a polygon is a closed shape. And a polygon is a shape with at least 3 straight sides. Okay? So that is the summary of what a perimeter means, its definition. So let's have a look now at this little shape down here. There is a square, a flat 2-dimensional square with the sides equal sides, of course. All the sides are 2 centimeters. And if an ant walked around here, an ant would walk 2 centimeters and another 2 centimeters and another 2 centimeters. I hope it wouldn't walk this crooked. And another 2 centimeters, and that in total is 2 plus 2 plus 2, on my circle's amazing, plus 2, which is 8 centimeters. So the perimeter of this object, there's our answer, is 8 centimeters. Now do you see the perimeter? So easy. Okay, so next slide, we are going to practice measuring perimeter. And I love this, grade 3s, because I have like a virtual online ruler that I can play around with, and I can measure. I can turn it this way and turn it that way, and I can measure. And I'm going to use it now to show you what if it's going to behave. It's, of course, what measurement this is. And it might not be exactly 4 centimeters, all right, or it might be slightly over, but we're going to go to the closest centimeter just for teaching's sake and to make it easy to manage. All right, so we're going to measure the perimeter of this triangle. Okay, we're going to measure each side, assuming that an ant is going to walk around the edges of this triangle, and we are going to see how far this ant goes. So the first side, this side is how many centimeters? Right, 4 centimeters. Now I'm going to turn my ruler around, and I have to get it parallel to the line. It's another new word that you will learn. A line, this line, it's not parallel yet. It's got to go exactly on there. And what is that? It's also 4 centimeters. So far, this ant of ours has walked 8 centimeters, 4 plus 4 now, but it hasn't finished yet. It's got to walk around there, and we are still not doing this properly. Mrs. Harmon, get your little measuring muscles on. And that is also 4 centimeters. So what do we notice then in grade 3? Is that the perimeter of that triangle, of course, is 12 centimeters. So it's 4 plus 4 plus 4, which is 12. And this 12 is badly behaved because it doesn't want to be in the right area. And I wonder if I can move it. No, I can't. Let's give it a try. It's because everything has been it's been kind of grouped together. But that's not a problem. So the perimeter of this triangle is 12 centimeters. The ant would have walked 12 centimeters around the perimeter of that shape. Here's another one, another triangle, of course. And let's try and see if we can measure this one now. All right, let's use my lovely ruler, which I love to bits. I love playing with this ruler. You've got to actually get it quite straight. So let's measure this distance then is, it's approximately 9 centimeters. I'm going to go approximately, so I'm rounding it off to 9 because it's closest to 9 than to 8. And I'm going to try that one. That is then just about, in fact, this should be pulled down a bit. That is about 5.5. So it's 9 plus 5.5. And then I need to turn it around to do the bottom line, and that is 7. Right, so 5.5 plus 9 plus 7 centimeters is 21.5 centimeters. And I just do not know why this is jumping around here, but never mind, you can see it. It was perfect before. Okay, so now we're really getting onto perimeter and doing quite a good job. Right, let's have a look now at this one. Okay, this is a trapezium, guys. This shape is called a trapezium. All right, so let's measure the bottom one. It's 10 centimeters. The top one there is 6 centimeters. Now I'm going to whiz that around there. Try and get it as straight as possible. You've got to have good coordination. And then that is approximately 5. So it's that one's 5, and the other one should be 5 as well, because they are parallel. No, they're not parallel. They are equidistant. They're equal distance from the top line and the bottom line. And that one is also about 5 centimeters. So what is the total? It's 6 plus 10 plus 5 plus 5, which is 26 centimeters. So the perimeter of that trapezium is 26 centimeters, which means that the little ant had to walk around there. That ant would walk around, walk for 26 centimeters. Here's another one now, and this one is a parallelogram. It's like a squashed rectangle, isn't it? It's been like a rectangle that's squashed. So let's see. The first bottom line is 9 centimeters. Top line is also 9 centimeters, and soon you'll be focusing on other properties of these shapes as far as what the top and bottom measurements are in relation to one another, but you don't have to worry about that right now. And this one is 5. Let's see, do you think the other one is 5 as well? I wonder, well, if I could get my ruler to behave itself, I might be able to measure it. Not so. And there we go. Let's have a look. Yes, it is 5. So what is the perimeter of this shape? 9 plus 9 plus 5 plus 5. And you're going to start seeing which sides are the same measurement, and leading you up to learning more about properties of shape. So the perimeter of this parallelogram, and why we call it a parallelogram is as we say that these lines, this line here, is parallel to that one. And parallel lines, and this line here, I'll explain just now what parallel lines mean. This line over here is parallel to this line, and if you keep drawing those lines, they will never meet. Parallel lines never ever will meet. Whereas if I drew a line like this and I drew a line like that, those are not parallel, because at some stage, watch, if I carry on in the straight line, they will meet, will they not, and cross over. So that is not a parallelogram, and that is not, those are not parallel lines. It's just a little side bit of information. So there you go. The parallelogram has a perimeter of 28 centimeters. Righty, and let's see, what is this? Do you remember what this shape is, guys? Well, how many sides has it got? It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, whoopsie, 4, 5. It has 5 sides, so it is a pentagon. And if it's a 3D shape, it would have been called a pentagonal prism. Right, so this is a pentagon. It's 5 sides. So let's measure the first side. I'm going to measure is 5 centimeters. This side is also 5 centimeters, more or less. I'm going to the closest, remember. I'm not going to go 5,12 or anything like that, because that is just going to take far too much time, and that's not what I'm trying to teach you. That is also approximately 5. That's 4.5. That there's 4.5. We can actually almost get that to 4.5. So let's see, maybe this one is also 4.5. I can't remember now. And I'm being a bit rushed, am I not, grade 3? So you need to be a little bit more accurate. Also 4.5. So that's 4.5, and that's 4.5, and the other one was 5. Now what, the bottom one, now what is this one, do you think? Maybe between the two? Notice I'm starting at the naught. I don't start measuring at the 1. Well, that is 4 centimeters. So it's got 4.5, 4.5, 5, and 4. I wonder if this one is going to be 4 as well. Let's have a look. Starting measurement from the naught and not the 1. That's also 4. So let's have a look and pull our screen down, and we will see that it's 4.5 plus 4.5 plus 5 plus 4 plus 4, which is, well, 4 fours are 16. Plus 5 is 21, plus 2 halves is 22. So the perimeter of this pentagon, if the little ant went strolling around the edge of this pentagon, the ant would stroll for 22 centimeters. Oh my goodness, I've set myself quite a lot of work here. So now, this is not a regular shape, okay? It's an irregular shape. So it's just a shape with all sorts of different sides. Right, let's go. There are quite a few. I think there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides, if I'm correct. So the first side is 5 centimeters, and I'm going to keep measuring all my lines this way, so I don't have to turn too often. Then that one is 3. So this is irregular. You see, they're all different sides. That is 2, and that is 6 centimeters. Right, now I'm going to turn my ruler around, and I'm going to measure all the sides of this one. I don't want to bore you, so I'm going to go quickly. 2, 4, 3, and 5. Right, so let's add them all up. Let's hope this one has added up correctly, because there are quite a lot of numbers here. So 2 centimeters plus 5 plus 3 plus 4 plus 6 plus 5 plus 2 plus 3 is 30 centimeters. Let me check that that's correct. How will I do that? I'm going to start by checking those are lots of numbers. Let's see if I haven't made a mistake. I'm going to start with my biggest number. I'm going to go back. I'm going to start mixing my 10. So combining my 10. 6 and 4 is 10. Let me see if I can write that. And I can go 5 and 5 is 10. There's another 10. 10 plus 10. This is just to show you a little bit of decent adding up. And then I'm going to not leave out anything. I'm going to go 3 plus 3, which is 6. All right. and then I'm going to combine these two, plus 2 is 4. Okay, and we know that 6 and 4, I'm completing the 10, is also 10. So it's 10 plus 10 plus 10 equals 30 centimeters. Wunderbar, excellent. Okay, so that is area, that is perimeter, right? And I said we were doing perimeter and area, so let's have a look at what area is. What do we do when we measure area? Okay. So what is area then? Well, area is the amount of square units it takes to cover a two-dimensional object. Now you look at me and you go, I do not know what you are talking about. All right, so let me say it another way. We measure the area of a shape in squares. What are some of the things that we could measure in square units? And you're probably still thinking, but persevere, guys. So we could measure carpets, tiles, wallpaper, lawn grass, and building houses. So we would measure what? We would measure how much carpet we need to buy for a room, how many tiles we need to buy to cover a room, how much wallpaper we would need to buy to cover a wall, how much grass would mom and dad have to buy for your gardener or for you to cover your lawn or your outside back garden. And builders use area to know how big a room needs to be built, or how to tile a room, or how to carpet. How much carpet must I buy to cover that area? And that is what area is all about. Okay, so here's an area of a rectangle. And a rectangle here you can see it's got two parallel sides. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a shape lesson. Those two sides are parallel, just as a matter of interest. And so are these two sides. That's because they will never meet parallel lines. But now let's see how many squares grade 3s will fit in here. Well, there's one. So if I had a guy coming and saying, please would you retile my veranda, this is what the size of my veranda is, he would have to work out how many squares of, if he had squares of tiles, how many would he need to buy? All right, so we keep adding them in. Let's assume these are 1 meter squares, which are big 1 meter tiles, square tiles. That's big tiles, but they're lovely. Okay, so how many we got? So we have filled this area with one. Come on, pen. One. What you doing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 squares, right? So that area will be covered by 10 squares, and let's assume that each 1 meter of those sides of each meter in length. You will eventually learn how to write the answer, and you will always write the answer in square centimeters or square meters or square kilometers, but at the moment we're not going to do that. We are going to learn the concept of grade 3, what it means to find the area of a shape, not the perimeter, the area. In other words, how much space does that shape cover? So how then can we work out the area of a shape, carpet, floor, swimming pool in an easier way? Well, let's have a look. We can find the area in a quicker way, or using a quicker method, as long as we understand what an area is. So let's count the squares on each side here. All right, we know that there are 10 altogether because it's the same pretty much of the one we did before. So there are 5 squares here, and there are 2 squares here in this column, but 5 in that column. So 5 times 2 equals 10, right? So a quick way of finding area is to multiply the length of the one side here by the width of the other side. Okay, getting the idea? Okay, let's have a look. So here we go. This is the same square. There should be a 2 here actually. I don't know where it thinks it's disappeared to, so let's quickly add it in. We have 2 there. Right, so it's 5 squares on this side, 5 squares that side, 2 squares on the width. So we take one side of the square or rectangle and multiply it by the other. All right, so length times width, and what do we get, grade 3s? We go 5 times 2 equals 10. And that's right, is it not? You have got 10 squares. So this rectangle covers an area of 10 squares. Right, let's practice a little bit, shall we? Okay, so here is a rectangle with a 3, let's say it's 3 centimeters by 2 centimeters. All right, let's see. We are going to cover this rectangle with our squares. Whoops, can't take it from there, Mrs. Harwin. What are you doing? Okay, so now we sit with, and we've got to be a bit more accurate than that, grade 3. I wouldn't be a good tiler if I didn't do it nicely, would I? So let's count them. Let's count the squares. How many squares does this rectangular shape cover? How much space does it take up? In other words, it takes up 6. But we also know that we can say, let's do it. Let's go. We know that we can multiply the one side by the other side. 2 squares multiplied by 3 squares equals 6 squares. Let's see if our answer is correct. Let's just see now. Come on, there we go. 6 square units. 6 square units cover that rectangle, or that rectangle takes up 6 square units of space. So I would go to the carpet shop and I'd say, I would like 6 square meters or square units of carpet, please, to cover this room. Right, to carpet this room. Let's do this one now. Okie dokie. Right, let's go. This is now 3 by 3. So I have to go and cover it 3 by 3. Fabulous. Just do it neatly, Mrs. Harmon. Really, Les. Again, this is not as accurate as the other one. Oops, 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 oops. Watch my coordination. But you get the idea as grade 3. You get the idea, right? Whoops, no. I love it. Right, this is not very good. This needs to have work. If there was a teacher checking up my work, I'd say, Les Harwin, would you please be a little bit neater than that? Right, my daughter, who's very, very neat about everything, would say, what are you doing, Mom? Tidy your maths up a bit. Okay, so there. Let's count them now, right? I know you've got the answer ready. You're just far cleverer than I am. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But you also know, because you know your tables, that 3 times 3 equals 9. So there's your quick and easy way of doing it. Let's check the answer now, and I'm sure we're clever. Are we clever? Yes, 9 square units for that. Let's do one more practice. I think there's only one more practice to do, so we might just be nearly finished, and then you can go and play. So write the area of these figures in square units, and I'm going to use this little square again. It says I have to have 4 squares along this line, right? Oi, 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 Mrs. Harwin, really and truly need to neaten up your act. Okay, and then we go again, but it was 4. Right, so we have got 4 square units along here, and we have 2 going downwards in our column. So 4 in a row and 2 in the column. So what can we do? How can we make that easier? Let's count them. There are 8 altogether there. So let's see. Let's go 4 times 2 equals 8. There we go. So the answer there is that area covers a space of 8 square units. And if I was going to tile that, if that was a floor plan and I went to the tiler, he would have to go to the shop, the tile shop, and say, please can I have 4 square units of tiles? and they would know how to work that out. So let's quickly do this one, shall we? Because we don't want to get bored, do we? There's nothing worse. 4 along here. What do you think the answer is going to be? Are you going to just do it in your head? I know you can. But you know what my belief is? We don't waste, we don't shorten the time we spend working out the basics first. And then we can make things trickier as you get the basics. Because once you've got the basics, you've got the basics, and then you are clever to move on. So there, I've covered my area with my square units quite neatly. Could be better, but I also know that the short way of doing it, well, let me count first. Mrs. Harmon keeps jumping to the next step when I haven't finished the step before. So let's count them now quickly, all right? Just the little dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But I also know that if I multiply the 4 times 3 equals 12. Yes, it does. So now you know how to work out area. So area is the space that a shape takes up, or the space that a shape covers. All right? It's the inside of a shape. And perimeter is the outside of the shape. All right, so if, for instance, I had to build a fence around a field, I would measure the perimeter because it's the boundary, the outside. But if I had to plant instant lawn, I would have to measure the inside because I'd be covering the inside. Does that make sense, grade 3? I hope so. And if it doesn't, you can just go and watch this video again. And we have come to the end of our lesson. But not quite the end of your work, because you can go and photocopy or print out the worksheet, and you can look at the answer sheet or the memorandum and mark what you've done, and the worksheet will be based on the video, obviously, and help you to consolidate or cement those ideas and those concepts into those clever minds of yours. Okay, so grade 3, thank you for sharing your time with me today. I have loved, and I love teaching you online. It is such fun. I love planning the lessons. It's very creative, and I love sharing that time with you, and I hope that you guys have learned a lot. And so enjoy the rest of your day, and be happy, be kind to one another, and be safe and healthy. All the best and lots of love. And it's from Liz, your maths teacher. Bye for now.